Hi, it's Matt Kendall here today. I'm here with Danielle. We'll just stick with Danielle. Um, Danielle, are you still in Thailand at the moment?
I am, yeah.
So Danielle's over in Thailand. This is the first client interview, or client interview. She did the training course last year. This is the first one of 2026. It's January I think the 14th. 2 weeks in already. Are we 2 weeks in? Oh, okay.
We are. Yeah, I know time flies.
And it's actually quite sunny here. I'm in Yorkshire. It's actually quite sunny stuff here. How hot and sunny is it in Thailand this time of year?
Oh, it's been amazing. It's been, wow, really good weather. Beach weather, let's put it that way.
Mm. Even in summer, it's not beach weather where I am. Okay, so Danielle did her training and supplied her case studies. I think it was in December, maybe you supplied the case studies.
I think
Not
so,
quite sure.
probably.
Yeah. And now she's, sort of working with people using IEMT. So what these conversations are, it's a real authentic conversation with somebody who's done the IEMT training about her experience going through the course and basically applying IMT. Now, I do tell people the questions before. We don't rehearse anything, and I don't know the answers to this, so it might go wrong. You never know. So basically, these interviews are around four questions: what the client or what the person's background is with therapy, how they heard about and found IEMT, and why did they want to come and learn it, what they thought of the actual training course itself, and how's it been since using IMT with their own clients and what they're going to use it for in future. So let's start at the beginning. So Danielle, a bit about your background in therapy and what you were trained in and what you were doing before IEMT.
Sure. So I'll go back several years ago, about 6 years ago, is when I first decided I want to start living in other places in the world, other than where I was living before. So I was wanting to work online. So I actually started a coaching business for people who want to feel more confident speaking English. Um, like foreigners, of course. English is a second language, working with adults. And I was doing that for a while. And during my work, I wasn't necessarily just doing like English practices. I was doing a lot of things that were connected more to the perfectionism wound, because most of the people that I was working with, like that was actually their deeper struggle. Like they could speak, but they just didn't feel confident. So I was working with people on that. And soon I started to work with just women because I noticed that there was just a really good chemistry between myself and working with women and helping women with their deeper inner challenges. And then we started doing some courses where I'd bring in personal development tools to help them also with their English, but also just with their own personal things. So I eventually did many different types of trainings and courses and retreats over the past several years that just kind of gave me a larger and larger toolbox to help women. And that includes a trauma awareness course, yoga teacher training, meditation. I studied NLP and life coaching. I didn't finish the life coaching because it felt a bit too heady for me. Um, I've done a lot of work in feminine embodiment, Reiki, some inner child work, and things like that. And then in more recent years, I've been doing, I kind of let go of the English and I just started doing women's work. So doing women's retreats, working one-on-one with women who want to just feel more connected to their bodies and more empowered, more able to regulate their emotions, understand themselves more deeply, love themselves more, and that kind of work. So I bring in a lot of just different tools that I've learned over the years.
And were you working with a particular type of client, like corporate or people who go through divorce or anything like that? Or
It never got to be so specific. I think the type of, I guess I would say the type of client that I work a lot with that tends to happen is people wanting to expand in their work. So a lot of people who are maybe like they have their own retreats or their own businesses and they want to grow more in that area. So I guess that's someone like a typical person who would come to me.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So you would do, and so you've done all this different kinds of training, different backgrounds. Did you then have like your method, your way of working? that you would take people through, or were you just kind of working like on the fly and using whatever you needed to?
That's a great question. So for the past couple years, I've still been kind of narrowing that down. What I started to notice that I really was called to work with for a while was helping women also with anger. So, for example, I was doing some workshops on anger, um, and well, I lost what I wanted to say. Can you repeat the question one more time?
So basically, I was asking that. So you've done all these different backgrounds, all these different disciplines. So did you create your own way of working,
All
or were
right.
you working on the fly with just tailoring it to people's needs?
I was pretty much tailoring it to people's needs. I still never really everything was different. Like every woman that I would work with would be doing different things. I guess the one thing that was very consistent was that I was teaching women tools to work with themselves.
Okay.
So again, like different types of women would come, but like I'm kind of like the tool master. So I loved giving tools to women for whatever their issue is, and that's
Okay.
kind of yeah, that's what we would do.
Cool. Cool. So you were doing these retreats, working with all these women and everything. How did you then go from that to learning about IEMT and deciding you wanted to actually come and do the course? What was that journey?
Yeah, so I was actually IEMT fell into my lap at the perfect time because I was actually really looking for something, an emotional process that I could go through with women uh, in a very structured way because I was doing things with women that was again, like really teaching them tools and, connecting them to their bodies and a lot of somatic work. But I was looking for something that would kind of go a little bit deeper and also be able to do it online.
Mhm.
And that's exactly when I came across the IEMT. I actually came across it because a friend of mine is an IEMT practitioner. She does it a little bit in her own way, so it's a bit different. But after I did a session with her, I was like, oh, okay, this I think is exactly what I was
Mm.
looking for. And this is going to help me be able to go deeper with my clients. And yeah, and then that's what led me to taking this course.
And so, did she train with me, this your friend, or
Um, I don't think so.
okay,
No.
okay. So you got introduced. A lot of people get into it by experiencing it by somebody else, and then.
Yeah.
So, how did you find me specifically? Was it on Facebook or just Google or YouTube or?
I I looked up on ChatGPT.
Oh, right, okay.
I looked up on ChatGPT for a IEMT course that was online and had good reviews, um, and a fair price.
Okay, and I got spat out of that search, did
Yeah,
I?
you were number one on that search.
Oh, excellent. Brilliant. So, yeah,
Yeah,
55-star Trustpilot review. Is it Trustpilot?
yeah,
Yeah, Trustpilot. Yeah, so excellent.
exactly.
Okay, so you'd have contacted me. I probably would have sent you the brochure or something, or I don't know if you just booked straight on. Usually, beforehand, what used to happen is that I had like this system where I would book in like a consultation like this and I'd go through everything. Now I send people like a PDF that has every kind of question in it. If people want to meet me, that's absolutely fine. But so
Mm,
many people literally just book directly on now because they do so much research. And I say this to my
yeah.
practitioners. I the other day I was buying, right. This is how rock and roll my life is. A sharpening stone for a knife, right? For kitchen knives,
Yeah,
just
yeah. Yeah.
I think I must have read about 25, 30 reviews of different products, right? It's just that because that's what people do. They do deep research. And so that's why I put so much content out. I put content out every week. So when they research me specifically, I do one thing. I do IMT practitioner training courses. That's all I do. That's all I do. So when people Google that, even on ChatGPT, I then come up and I try to dominate one space. So I always say this with marketing, don't be a therapist that offers everything because then nobody will hear you. If you just
Yeah.
do one thing, you can make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
So you decided to do my training. Well done. Good choice.
Yeah.
What was your training experience like? And I want you to sort of think about other trainings you've been on as well.
Yeah.
I'm not searching for compliments here. I just want a fair analysis of different things.
Yeah.
So there's three main components to the training. There's the beforehand, so the information you get beforehand, the actual training itself, what it was like going through it, and the aftercare. So take it away. What was it like before, during, and after going through the training?
Okay, um, so before the training, I was looking at a lot of the content that you have online. So I guess just to make sure you're not like a fraud.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
because
Yeah,
like finding a course online, it's like you never know.
of
So I
course.
was seeing a lot of your videos, and then I think I had enough information to just sign up for the training, and then after we signed up, I remember I think I checked in with you at one point just to make sure like that everything was good, and you messaged me back, and you said that yeah, you're gonna send out the documents soon, like the course information. And then I don't remember like what the timeline was, but then eventually you sent
It's
out
always
all.
the weekend before, a week before the
Yeah.
training. Yeah.
Okay, so I signed up pretty early. I must have signed up at least a month or two before the training.
Okay.
Um, so then, yeah, you sent all the information, all of the like the booklet and everything that we need for the course. It was very clear, very thorough, very concise, and informative. And then during the training, I also felt the training was like it was very clear, very concise. Like it wasn't there wasn't so much fluff. It was just like, this is what we need to learn, and this is what we learn. And very experiential, which for me, I think was the best part about this whole training
Yeah.
was just how experiential it was. Like everything that we learned, we got to practice, and then it makes it, much easier to do it in real life
Yeah, of
after you've
course.
already done it. I remember you had a lot of patience during the course, which was like very impressive because sometimes some of the questions that people ask, I'm like, oh my gosh. But you were very, very patient, and it never seemed like any question that anyone asked like rubbed you the wrong way or made you lose your pay. You were very great with that. And then after the course, yeah, right away, I think I began the case. Not right away, maybe I gave myself a couple weeks, but I felt pretty like confident to start the case studies. And then I did the case studies within a couple months while I was traveling,
Mm.
and then sent them to you. Any questions that I had, you always answered me by email. You've been super helpful. Also, it's been really nice having the once a week Q&A that you do. So anytime
Yeah.
we can just send in a question and you answer it in your live on Facebook, which is then recorded, and you can watch it at a later time. So
Yeah.
that's also been extremely helpful for me now because I'm starting to actually practice with more people. And so, of course,
Yeah.
more questions are coming up, and it's really, really helpful to have that as a resource.
And so after the course as well, so you have the WhatsApp group as well. So we have
Yeah.
that, which is a really good community. So there's about 150 people in there. I do most Tuesdays. Sometimes I can't because of whatever reasons, but every Tuesday I usually do about a 30-minute Q&A. So when people submit questions to me on WhatsApp or Facebook, I will tend to answer. I'll give a an answer, when I see it, but then I like to do a deep dive on that particular, because sometimes it's easier to
Great.
explain something by talking about it rather than just writing it down. So I like to actually, and the reason why I was just getting so many questions and stuff, like, do you know what? It's just best to do them all at once a week, and then people can tune in or then watch the replay. And I upload
Yeah.
it to Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn and stuff like that as well. And also there's the coaching sessions every month. I do a coaching session with my
Mhm.
attendees as well. And I take them through a bit of a deep dive or extra demonstrations of things because I think, like you're saying, that what you liked was so immersive and so practical. And when I did training courses before, I found that the actual practical element was always lacking or was always an afterthought.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to really lean in to doing the practicals. And I think that, I shouldn't be asking the people on the course to do something which I can't demonstrate completely and fully. And
Yeah.
sometimes I've been to courses and I was thinking, I don't know if they know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't think they could actually do this. Or the only reason why it's working is because of the person's position and who they
Yeah.
are. And it's a little bit. not staged, but you know, would this
Yeah.
work in a clinic? And what I like about IEMT is a set of tools and techniques, obviously a way of working, but most people have no idea what the outcome is, what it's going to be like, and it's that element of surprise of how well it works. So when you were so the way that I teach is a four-step system. It's basically a an explanation about what the module is, then a demonstration. So I'll actually do the thing. Then you
Mhm.
go into your breakout rooms to practice the thing. We then come back and we then discuss the results and any questions before we move on to the next thing. And because it's so modular, it just allows you to focus on that one thing
Yeah.
at a time, rather than
Yeah.
trying to keep everything, in your
Yeah.
mind.
Exactly.
When you were doing IEMT for the first time and experiencing it, what was it like going into the breakout rooms? Or what was it like, first of all, to witness me doing it with people? And then what was it like practicing it? And what were your results like then?
Um, it was, wow, I remember it was very powerful to see you practicing it on people. Um, I also got to do one demo with you. It was something that was simple, but again, like very powerful and effective. So yeah, it was really cool to like see you do the actual practices on volunteers.
Hmm.
And then in the breakout room, the breakout rooms were very interesting because some of the sometimes some of the people are like would get kind of, confused. So I found myself sometimes correcting people because I felt like I understood it very clearly.
Hmm.
Or sometimes like, it took people some time to like figure out how to do the eye movement. So, it's
Yeah, yeah,
learning,
yeah,
but it's the space for that. So,
yeah.
it was nice to have that space also for me. Like I wasn't perfect. So also to learn, just to be able to practice and to get feedback from one another, was really helpful. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, because my aim is that by when you finish the course, you're excited to go out and use the tools.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you've practiced them, you actually know what you're doing. Um, Rather than you've just watched me do them, and then you're now with somebody with looking at your notes, just not knowing what to do. I
Yeah.
want, I've had people who've started practicing on the Saturday night with friends and family, started doing it kind of straight away.
Wow.
Yeah, so you did the training, you did the weekend course, and then we mentioned your case studies. So, what was it like going from the training room to your real world, taking these skills, working with your case studies? What was that like, and what kind of results were you able to generate with your case studies?
I think with the case studies, it just deepened my understanding of the work and also the patterns of chronicity, I would say.
Yeah.
Because I think I like didn't pay so much attention to that in the
Okay.
course. And then afterwards, I started to notice how relevant it is.
Hmm.
So there was definitely a nice like learning curve there. Um, the women that I worked with really appreciated the therapy. Like they both had like they both had very clear results, I would say. Like one of them, I remember she told me like in our second session, she said that her boyfriend noticed such a difference with her, and she was, much less reactive and much less
Yeah.
like when they were having an argument, she was just like way more present and less, getting
Yeah.
upset. So that was pretty cool. And then the other woman that I worked with, she was wanting to do she was having some uh, self-worth stuff come up around the retreat that she was going to be leading and not feeling good enough and having imposter syndrome. And this definitely it helped her also let go of some of that. And then also just in her relationships with her family, she had some like really big shifts and how she relates to some people in her family, which for her it was like very, very painful. And suddenly in the session she was like laughing about it, like it didn't feel painful anymore. So it was pretty
Brilliant.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about IEMT is that you don't have to go into the details of the thing. And
Yeah.
and people say, does it make you feel different? And it's like it's not about feeling different. It's about having a different understanding of things and being able to choose, or not just be able to choose your reaction, but not having that instant reaction you used to have. You have the
Yeah.
space, you have that mental clarity and emotional clarity. rather
Yeah.
than being like saying with your first client there about not being so reactive in arguments and actually being able to be present. Because a lot of the time when we're arguing with somebody, it's not about the thing at the moment, it's about stuff from the past that's being projected into the
Yeah.
present. And
Yeah.
that's what we're actually arguing about. And so it allows you to see things for what they are in the present without the emotional attachments,
Yeah.
to the past.
Exactly.
So you've done
Yeah.
your case studies. Have you worked with many other people as of yet or practiced with people?
Yeah, I've worked with a few people, and I've also had some incredible results with them actually. One person that I worked with also, she was having some self-doubt around her retreats and her work and believing in herself. And I mean, her energy, I think she was also just like really ready to have a shift because
Mm,
we were working through things so fast. I was shocked at how much we got through in one session. It was
yeah,
really like
yeah.
mind-blowing. She was just so ready. Um, and like her whole energy just completely changed within one session.
Oh,
And just she went from feeling so like, oh, I can't do this and I'm lost and I'm this to like full blown, like in her power. I'm doing this retreat now and I'm going and I believe in like, what do you mean I can't do this? I can do anything I want. And that was in one session. And then we did a
mhm.
second session, and it just like solidified everything. And yeah, it was that was a
C-
pretty
Can I ask
amazing
you before I
experience.
forget,
Yeah.
what physical differences have you noticed in your clients between two sessions? So how do they show up in the second session as opposed to the
Oh
first?
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Mm,
So yeah, so like when she came in, it was just like lower energy, more tired, more sad. Just like how someone when she like doesn't believe in herself, how she looks
mm,
like more,
yeah,
attracted. And then in the second session, she was like full blown, like ready to
yeah.
conquer the world, energized, excited, determined, uh, like clear and focused.
Mm.
Yeah.
I was because I used to see people in actual clinic in London, and I had this one guy once, and I did an interview with him. He knows I talk about him, and he was like he was in his mid-20s, but he still looked like a student, like a sort of a scruffy student. So he had like ripped baggy jeans, not fashionable ones, just old ones, and he had sort of like floppy hair, he had glasses, and so and we did a session around sort of self-confidence and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And a week later, I'm in the waiting room, like looking at, don't wear a watch, looking at my phone, like bit late, bit rude. Uh, and he just goes, "Are we gonna get going, Matt?" This guy across it, and I was like, "Well, oh." He looked complete. He looked so different because he'd
Wow.
without me telling him to, he'd started really taking pride in his appearance, and he was dressed completely differently. He'd been to the barber's, had his hair sort of done everything, and when he
Wow.
stood up, he looked like he was about 3 inches taller. And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, hi." I didn't
Wow.
recognize you there, So I've even seen it when I used to do trainings in person. I used to do like the actual, especially the I me self you. People's
Mm.
bodies would begin to physically shift as you do it, and I'm not telling them to adopt a fake it till you make it kind of thing. It just you're just not trying to defend your organs and stuff anymore. You actually just become,
Right. Yeah.
so.
Or
uh,
taking up your space.
yeah,
Like,
taking up
yeah.
your space. So, and what I find is that when somebody's in a state of panic or fight or flight, um, basically it's all to do sort of blood flow and what your body's preparing itself for. And so, if you're prepared to fight or to run away, you are in that tense kind of situation. Your body's in that tense state, and things sort of like digestion, things like sort of how your skin looks, everything like this,
Yeah.
things like sort of libido, so digestion, libido, there's a bit of sleep, and all these different kinds of
Mhm.
things um, aren't focused on, they aren't prioritized because they don't need to be in that situation. So
Right.
when you start to bring clients out of this panic mode, all these things tend to come back. So
Hmm.
they actually get a bit more zest for life because they're not trying to escape their experience anymore. And so I don't do anything like this, but apparently things like fertility and everything is really
Oh,
affected
wow.
by
Yeah.
this. I've not gone into that, but some people really specialize in like fertility because a lot of it is about relaxing and letting the body do what it needs to do, still stuff like that. But just self-confidence without it being the whole kind of Tony Robinson style of trying, the boop, boop, that kind of stuff. It's a quiet confidence that people
Yeah.
get, um, rather than it being a false trying to feel something.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you, so what's your future now? Let's say the next few years or something. Are you going to stay in Thailand? Do you work in person or do you work online at the moment, or is it a mixture?
A mixture. I do both. Yeah.
A mixture. And how do you see yourself now using IMT and your skills going forward and the people you want to work with?
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Like I said, I was really looking for a powerful tool like IEMT to really be able to do the deep emotional work with people. So the way that I see IEMT integrating into the work that I already do is before I work with someone now, I would, and this is what I've started to do, a couple IEMT sessions
Yeah,
first, kind of already shed some layers.
yeah,
So then the other work that I'm bringing in is actually a lot easier
yeah.
after doing some IMT sessions. Easier and more effective, and just, it's like they're coming from a place where they're already much lighter. So then it's, yeah, much easier to do the work.
Oh, I hear that all the time that once you front load your sessions with IEMT, the client becomes much more coachable, you
Yeah.
know. And if you ever hit a barrier, an emotional or memory or something or identity stuff whilst you're working with somebody, you've got a set of tools you can draw upon from IEMT as
Yeah.
and when you need them rather than doing full sessions as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've even I introduced it very briefly in some classes that I do here, like not even having people touch a memory or something or an emotion, but just for people to like do the eye movement on themselves after doing a bit of embodiment work. Like people are very surprised at how powerful it is. Like I'll just have them do like six ways this way, six ways this way,
Mm,
six ways this way, and suddenly they feel so relaxed, without even having to think about something. And it's also like even very gently bringing it into a group setting has also been pretty cool.
brilliant. Excellent.
Yeah,
Let me ask
yeah.
you before we go, what's your favorite thing about IMT? What's if you're just to pick
Mm.
kind of one thing from it, what's your favorite thing about it?
Since I am such a tool person, I love how effective this tool is.
Mm,
I still use it on myself quite often. I combine it with my other practices. So, uh, I do a lot of writing to kind of like free flow writing where I'll write
yeah,
nonstop, kind of
yeah,
access some subconscious parts that I'm maybe not aware of. And then I can like look at my paper and see where I can, use the IEMT. I used to do a lot of reparenting and inner child work, which is also very powerful. But I noticed with the IEMT, it's like I can do the eye movement on an issue and then it's kind of like the issue's gone, like it doesn't come back. Or maybe there's a, different aspect of the issue that I can work on again, but it's like
mm.
it's like really going so deep and removing the thorn, um, which is just like, it's just incredible.
Excellent, cool.
Yeah.
And on the actual course itself, did you have any positive experiences personally from the breakout rooms or the demos?
Um, I had a positive experience from the demo. I mean, I'm sure I had also positive experiences from the breakout rooms. I don't really, none that stood out though, I guess, because I'm not remembering. But from the demo, I remember something like we did something very simple on my relationship with one of my parents. And it really gave me a nice perspective shift. Which is also something that I wanted to mention, like with the people that I've been working with recently, a lot of people also share how they have like really big perspective shifts on things that happened to them
Yeah.
when they were, younger.
Mm,
They see things differently. Parts of the memory get more clear. They suddenly
yeah,
they understand why something happened, and also that they actually didn't need to take it the way they took it. And it's like a
yeah,
total like almost like an epiphany. Like I've had a lot of those as well. So
yes.
that's another one of my favorite things about it, I'd say.
Somebody, his name escapes me, put on something I did the other day. It's like going from being in the goldfish bowl to looking at the goldfish bowl,
Yeah.
which I think is a really nice way. And I try and explain this that when things happen around you and to you when you're a child, when you see it from an adult perspective, you realize a lot of this stuff wasn't about me.
Yep.
I just happened to be there. And what
Yep.
other people did was wrong, and I shouldn't have been involved. And it's their stuff, their problems. But it's very hard for like a 7-year-old to understand that. But
Yeah.
as an adult, we go back and revisit these foundational memories, these imprint memories, and seeing them from an adult perspective just changes your learning around it. So it's not about forgiveness. It's not about this. It's about just going back to these imprint memories as who you are now. And what we now get is time progression. It's something that's just part of me. It happened a long time ago, and now it doesn't have any bearing over me. But
Right.
people don't understand that the issues, the boundaries, the emotional boundaries they have and stuff now are all learned. They're all learned from things in the past, but we don't know how to connect them. And even if we did, we don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
So with IEMT, we know how to get back to them and how to actually process those memories, those experiences. And so it's just like, I've got a light here. If I turn the light off, the light's still there, but there's just no power going to it anymore. And that's the way I like to think about it.
I love
Any
that.
any final thoughts, claims, or anything you want to say before we finish up today?
Um, hmm. I feel like, yeah, that last question kind of helped me touch the last pieces about how it's like really just like you really can go so deep and then just like peel the layers. And yeah, I just think it's a really amazing tool. And I definitely would recommend you as a teacher, your course. It was a really, really great course and very practical um, and yeah, I think anyone who's thinking about joining should definitely give it a chance,
And a
give it
fun course as well. Very so
a
I
yeah.
always like because a lot of therapy courses are very dry and very serious. And I
Yeah,
find I find that can make it quite boring, you know.
yeah. No, it was
So
definitely it was like the right amount of like everything it needed to be.
cool.
Yeah.
If people are interested in working with you, do you have a social media presence or a website at all?
Yeah, they can find me on social media. My name is Danielle, Danielle underscore Ronit, Ronit.
Okay, and do you have a website as well, or
I do have a website, but it's sometimes running, sometimes not running. Right now it's being worked on, so
so the best thing to do? And what social media is it? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube? What
Instagram.
Instagram? All
Yeah.
right, I'll put that link below. Daniel,
Awesome.
go and enjoy. What time is it there now, by the way?
It's 5:45, so I'm gonna go watch sunset at the beach.
All right. Well, I'm in Yorkshire, so I'm going to go watch the clouds. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. So I
Thank you.
appreciate it.